All right, welcome to the tutorial on setting up your very own Business Objects trial environment. Keep in mind this environment is a 30-day trial, but there is no limit to the amount of times you can renew this trial. So as long as you renew before the 30th day, you can keep your Business Objects trial environment up and running. And this is a fully functional environment just like you'd find in a production instance. So let's get started. To get things kicked off, let's go ahead and navigate to sapwebi.com/hosting. The website Turnkey Internet comes highly recommended for affordable, on-demand, private virtual servers, or VPSs. The machine I'd recommend you get is the T80, and it comes in at $21.24 a month. Now we'll scroll down, and for our operating system, let's choose the Windows Server 2016 Evaluation Edition, the 64-bit. You can leave everything else at its default selection. Choose Continue. You should see your total at $21.24 if the coupon was applied. I already have a server up and running, so the coupon is only applicable to the first server you spin up. Let's now scroll down and fill out all the applicable detail information. Mine's already pre-populated because I'm an existing customer, but if you're a new customer, click on the New Customer tab and fill out all the information. As you scroll down further, you'll be asked for the payment method. I'm choosing my credit card and using my existing card on file. Check the terms of service and click on Checkout. All right, and you may be prompted to have to hit Next down there for the Verified by Visa option, or it might go through automatically. But for me, I have to hit Next. Okay, so my order has been placed. And right now, my server has begun the process of spinning up. Click here to go to your client area. And once there, you can see that there are services running. If you're a new customer, you should only see one service here. But seeing as how I'm an existing customer, I have two. Go ahead and click on one of those services. And here is the Business Objects server we're going to be using, the T80. Towards the bottom, you can see that we have the system currently in the offline status, and that's because it's still coming up. It was just launched a second ago, so it might take around 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and just speed the video up. Just going to refresh the page and see if it is now online. All right, we are good to go. So in order to connect to our server, we need our IP address, which is listed out right here on that first server information tab. So go ahead and write that down. And on this far right tab called additional information, this is our password, which is our administrator password to log into that machine. Go ahead and copy and paste that into Notepad, because oftentimes the letters might look like numbers and the numbers might look like letters. So putting it in a program like Notepad, you could easily tell the difference. All right, so now that we have our IP address along with our password to log in, let's go ahead and load up the remote desktop program. Come down to the Windows icon and just start typing out remote, and that should pull up the remote desktop connection application. All right, so now that we have a blank remote desktop connection, go ahead and copy and paste or just manually type that IP address in. Click Connect. And if you already have a session that's been established before, you're going to need to come down and choose Use Different Account. Now we'll type in for our username, administrator. And then again, under our additional information, we have our administrator password, which I've gone ahead and just copied into my notepad. So I'll paste that on in there and choose OK. Click Do Not Ask Again, and then press Yes. And now we are connecting to our Windows Server 2016 out in the cloud. Go ahead and click No. Okay, so now that we have connected to our Windows Server environment, the first thing I recommend we do is we change our administrator password to something a little bit easier to remember, not that crazy long string of text. So the easiest way to do this, because it can often be difficult to send a Control-Alt-Delete when you're remoting into your machine, is to go back into the Turnkey Internet Client portal. So we'll come back to our server here, and there's an option towards the bottom of the page called VNC. Go ahead and click that button and choose the HTML option. And this essentially creates that remote desktop connection within a web interface. Click on Send Control-Alt-Delete. We could log in. So we'll go ahead and just type out that password that we have for our administrator account. And once you're logged in, on the top right hand of your screen, you can see there's a Send Control-Alt-Delete. Go ahead and do that and choose the Change a Password option. Here we'll put in our old, long, and clumsy password. And in the next two fields, we'll enter our new password. Click Enter, and our password has been changed. Okay, so now that we've successfully done that, we can go back into the remote desktop application. Click Connect. Use our new password. And we are good to go. So you no longer need that web-based remote connection. All right, so once your server manager boots up, click on Local Server. And then over on the right-hand side, in the top right, you can see that there's the IE Enhanced Security Configuration. Go ahead and click on that. And make sure both are set to off. Otherwise, Internet Explorer is unusable. Okay, so since they're both set to off, let's now pop back into Internet Explorer. Now go to google.com. Let's download Google Chrome. If you're not prompted to download Google Chrome, just go ahead and do a quick Google search for download Google Chrome. Very self-explanatory. Uncheck that box and choose Accept and Install. Click Run. All right, once Chrome downloads and installs, go ahead and close out of Internet Explorer. And now we're going to go ahead and open up a new tab into Google. And we'll search for BO Edge Edition Search. And click on that first link. Go ahead and register for a free trial. So if this is your first time setting up for an account with SAP, please go ahead and fill out all the fields. I already have an account, so I'm just going to log in. Once you're logged in, you'll see the option for server and client tools. Go ahead and click on the server option. Accept the agreement. And click that blue button to start your download. You'll notice that the zip file begins downloading. It's quite large, so it might take a bit of time depending upon your speed. And while it's downloading, let's also grab the client tools as well. Same process, accepting, and the download will begin. Okay, so at the same time, SAP will also send you an email with your BO trial key. Now this is your license key that's good for 30 days. And towards the end of this video, I'll walk through how to actually renew that license so you don't have to worry about it lapsing. All right, once your download's complete, open up your downloads folder and right click on the one that ends in 485 and then choose extract all. Click extract. And that's going to store all the contents of that zip file within the same numbered file unzipped. This might take a bit of time, so I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward. Okay, once that unzipping finishes up, you'll notice that there's the folder that pops up on your screen. Double click on Data Units, BO Server Win, and then double click on Setup. This will now kick off the BO installer. Choose your language. So I'll go ahead and just keep it in English. Press OK. Choose Next. And you'll see that prior to kicking off the setup, it's actually saying, hey, you have to restart your computer. So just go ahead and exit out of the setup. And we'll restart the server. And once your server comes back online, go ahead and reconnect back into it. So log back into your server. And once again, we're going to be kicking off the installer. So navigate to your downloads folder. Go into 485. Data Units, BO Server Win. And double click on Setup. Language. Next. And now we can see that it is allowing us to proceed with the install. So press Next, Next, accept the agreement, Next. And now this is where we input that product key that was sent to the email address that we registered with SAP with. Type that in and choose the full install type. Click Next, Next, Next. And now let's rename this node to be uppercase node 1. Click Next. Next. Now, it's very important that you remember this password, so I'm going to go ahead and just reuse the password across all these various accounts for my BO system, given that it's a sandbox environment. Click Next. 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 So really, you're going to be leaving the majority of these at their default. One more password. Click on Next. And do not configure the SMD agent. Do not configure the enter scope. And click Next to begin the install. I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward, but this should take around 1 hour to fully install. So as your installation wraps up, it's actually going to begin starting up all the Business Objects services. So go ahead and press Next and finish. So our BO server is currently up and running on this Windows Server environment. As you can see, we have this central configuration manager. Go ahead and give that a click. This shows us the various services that are up and running. Looks good. Let's close out of this folder. And before we kick off the next installation, let's go into the SAP Business Intelligence folder and click on the SAP BI Platform Central Management Console. Type in administrator for your username, and the password is what we set during the actual Business Objects installation process. Log on. We can just click OK. Don't want to see that message again. Next. And we don't want all these servers to auto start, so let's just go ahead and deselect everything but Web Intelligence. Click Next. Next. These default directories are fine. Click Next. And it's just saying only Web Intelligence will kick off automatically. We'll hit Apply. and close. So this is the back end of the central management console. If you click that little drop-down menu, you can see the options for management of licensing keys. So this is my key that was emailed to me. It's good for 30 days. And the only way to re-up this is to pop back into Google, search for the BO Edge Edition trial, and just request it again. And all you're going to do is re-enter the same key. So it's quite easy to re-up your license. You can see there's various ways of administrating this environment, various users and groups to control permissioning. But we'll just close out of that. Go back into your downloads folder, and now let's extract the _1 zip file. And this is what includes the client tools. So we'll just right click, extract all, click extract. Just going to fast forward. Okay, so once that extraction completes, you'll see this SBOP BI Platform Client Tools folder. Hop into Data Units, BO Client 1, and double click on Setup. So very similar way of installing versus the server. Select your language. Next. Next. Accept. Click Next. And you're welcome to deselect some of these if you don't want to install them. But I'm just going to go ahead and install everything that's available to me from a client tools perspective, just to make sure I'm covered from a connector perspective as well. Click Next. Next, and now this begins the installation of the client tools. Again, I'm just going to fast forward because this takes quite a bit of time. All right, click Finish. Let's close out of this folder. We can go ahead and get rid of all these zip files and folders because we've already installed what we needed. So I'm just going to delete these from our server. Close out of downloads. And now when we click on the Windows icon down here, we can see the Web Intelligence Rich client is right at the top of our list, along with other client tools. And they're also inside of the SAP Business Intelligence folder. So it's all neatly organized. We're going to work with Web Intelligence through the Rich Client application, given it's much more robust and enterprise-worthy versus a web-based version. So as this Rich Client loads, we'll be prompted for some information. Click on your server manager in order to get your local server name. My computer name is Bob J. Yours might be the same or different. So I'm just going to enter that there. Choose the enterprise authentication mode, username, the administrator, and the password is what we use to set up during the installation process. So same sort of fields that we used for the central management console to log in. Same goes here. We'll click Don't Show and close. We'll maximize the window. And we'll click on New to create a new Web Intelligence document. Now, before we can actually create something, we need to first connect to a data source. So let's click on the Universe option to use a universe as our data source. Click OK. And let's use the eFashion universe. This is a great training universe that we use for our training course at sapwebi.com. So in the left-hand pane, we have our various dimensions broken out into their folders. And we can just drag and drop those onto the result objects pane. So we have our year and sales revenue measure. And if we actually want to run this query, we're not going to be applying any filters, so we'll skip over that and just come down to the button down here and click run. And that is the report output for our Web Intelligence query that we just wrote in a couple of seconds. Let's close out of Web Intelligence. Let's open up our Central Management Console and navigate to the License Keys option. And this is going to be how we can renew our license. As you can see, our key is currently listed out along with the expiration date, and it should be 30 days from when you originally signed up for your trial. So all we need to do is just re-enter the same key. But before we do that, we'll need to go back into Google Chrome and search for BO Edge Edition once again, and go ahead and sign in to re-up your trial. So once you go ahead and sign in, you'll then receive an email from SAP with the exact same key that you first got when you originally signed up for your trial. So all we need to do now is remove and re-add that same key. So go ahead and click on delete. And you'll notice once it's deleted, it'll then pop up right above the box where we entered the key. So you can just double click on that same exact license key, copy it with a Control-C, and paste with Control-V. Click Add, and that will essentially flush out your original license and renew it. So now you have an additional 30 days on your license. So you can do this after a couple of weeks just to make sure you don't miss that 30-day window. So just set a calendar reminder and just keep popping back into re-register for that trial. All right, so now that you have Web Intelligence access in your private server in the cloud, I'd also want to mention an awesome training course that I developed that covers all things Web Intelligence 4.x. It's BOW 310, 320 consolidated, both beginner and advanced trainings, all in one easy to consume course. Everything's on demand, and you have lifetime access to all the training content. I look forward to seeing you inside of the course.